I'm sorry to be a downer, but this is Schubert's Serenade, Ständchen, and it's from his final song cycle called Schwanengesang, Swan Song, which is paralleling when he wrote it in his life. Schubert did not live very long. He died at the age of 31. Unthinkable. And he had a very tragic life dealing with illness, and he knew his time was limited. In his final year of life, he wrote so much music. The last piano sonatas and so many things, so many songs, sometimes multiple songs for voice, lead or leader. He would write so many of those even in one day. But because I don't sing, and I don't sing in German, I'm playing Liszt's arrangement of it for solo piano. And this is also interesting because Schubert was only really known among a small group of friends in Vienna. They had the Schubertiades, these evenings where he would play his music. And he didn't have this wider recognition. Also, Schubert, unlike all the big names composers who lived in Vienna, Schubert was actually born in Vienna, which is pretty unusual. Mozart was not, Haydn was not, Beethoven was certainly not born in Vienna. But Liszt, what he did, Liszt was a wonderful person in many ways, and somewhat looked unfavorably on for some reason in some circles. But Liszt was not only just a flamboyant virtuoso, he certainly was that, but he was also sort of a philanthropist and a promoter of people like Schubert who deserved to be heard. And so Schubert, who was not known widely, well, Liszt did many arrangements of Schubert's songs, his lieder, and played them in his early recitals, especially this one. Liszt played these, and probably with this piece made Schubert a household name. So he was marketing him almost. I don't like to use that word, but he was promoting this great Schubert. And I think it was Horowitz who said Schubert is one of the best, if not the best, because there's a sincerity to Schubert, which you'll hear. And finally, I want to say, Schubert, writing this at the end of his short life, he could have written something very tragic, very heavy, but he didn't. He writes something a little bit lighthearted, this piece. It's almost dance-like. Why does he do that? I think well, first of all, I was reading, he had some Eastern European heritage, which I think is interesting, and there's that feeling of almost like a Hungarian or Czech feeling in this music. But I think that this is Vienna, and I've told you this joke maybe a million times, but I love it. It's a 19th century joke that says, what's the difference between Austro-Hungary or Vienna, and what's now Germany, Saxony, and Berlin, a place like that. The difference between Austria and Germany is that in Germany things are very serious, but there's always hope. In Vienna, in Austria, things are not serious, but there's no hope. And I think that that's Schubert. Vienna is the city of the waltz, but there's also this nihilism under it. There's, of course, Freud was from there. So there's something darker there as well. But anyway, not to ramble on and on, here's the Schubert Liszt Ständchen Serenade.